Hello YouTubers, welcome to another Doctor Who episode review. So today I'm reviewing Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. And I'm glad I rewatched it because this was never a story that I enjoyed. It was just something about Moffat's episodes back then. I mean, there was series 1, he did The Empty Child and The Doctor Dancers. I never liked that story, but coming back to watch it a few weeks ago, I watched it and I enjoyed it. Girl in the Fireplace, series 2, that was alright. It wasn't brilliant, but it was okay. Then series 3, Blink, I never liked that one. Once again, rewatching it, brilliant. And then now, Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. So yeah, I'm actually really glad that I'm reviewing it now, because really I'm glad that I rewatched it, because, you know, if I didn't rewatch it I'd be sitting here now thinking, oh god, what a bullshitty episode I've got to review now. But yeah, I'm really glad I watched it because I thought it was a very good episode, to be honest. So the idea of having River Song in it was alright. That was back when we had no idea who River Song is or who she was. Though obviously nowadays she's in just about every episode. And I don't really like that personally. I think it's a bit of a crappy idea that she's in every episode. But I suppose now we do know who she is, and that and we obviously do know about a lot of things, like the handcuffs, why she had handcuffs towards the end. That was because obviously she tried to kill the Doctor in series 6. Well, it was his test select, but all the same. So I thought David Tennant and Catherine Tate were brilliant at acting. Everyone was very good. But Alex Kingston, I don't. There's just something about her playing River Song that I don't like. I suppose it's probably just the character. I mean, I suppose she was alright in her first couple of episodes. Then when it got to her being in the Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang, and from that point onwards, she just started to get a bit of a boring character. And I like the joke between, I like the joke that the Doctor said about archaeologists, when he said that he's a time traveller and he points and laughs at archaeologists, and I did like that idea. I did like that joke too. And then I think it's part 1. Dr. Moon says to Catherine, or Cal, who's the little girl, if none of you knew, he says to her something like, your dreams, no, the reality, your reality is a dream and your nightmares are real. And I think that's what gave you a bit of the Moffat's magic, if you know what I mean. I mean, nowadays with Stephen Moffat being the head writer, I don't think he's as good. But back then, when he just wrote 1 episode per series, I thought he was very good actually. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, fancy saying that to a child though. I mean, it must be horrible. I mean, what was she, 7, 6, something like that? I would have shat myself if that was me, you know, because I used to have nightmares of Tesco, you know, and that's partly what I enjoyed about the episode, the fact that, I mean, a lot of things to do with real life are things that Stephen Moffat associates with things like this, like clocks in The Girl in the Fireplace, and in Blink with the Weeping Angels, and now he's trying to make you scared of shadows. He's trying to make you scared of stepping in shadows, and I know at the time I was petrified of standing in the shadow. So and that does actually make me smile a bit when I look back. And the bit with the red setting on the sonic screwdriver, they came back to that in Cold War, where the Doctor's holding his sonic screwdriver, where Skaudak is about to launch the missiles. He had the red setting on the screwdriver. So I'm glad that they came back to that in Cold War. And unless it was just something like the walls reflecting off, or I don't know, but I thought it was the red setting anyway. And the emotional bit between River and the Doctor towards the middle of Forest of the Dead was quite interesting, with River apparently saying the Doctor's name into his ear, and then from that point on he trusts her. So yeah, and we'll come back to that bit in a sec. So in Forest of the Dead as well, they have I can't remember her name actually. I can't remember her name, but she was wearing a veil, and Donna pulled it off, and her face was all weird. She had a long eye going down or something, and it was pretty freaky actually. And I was petrified of that as well. I was pretty much copying the little girl, where she gets a cushion in front of her head and, you know, doesn't want to see it because it terrifies her. And that's the case with me too. Obviously nowadays it's not as bad, but yeah. So overall, I thought it was a brilliant story, and I give it a 9 out of 10. Oh yeah, I didn't come back to that bit, did I? River's death. That was very emotional. I really liked that scene for that reason, and I suppose for that reason only. And it was just so emotional, you know. And that's probably my highlight of the story altogether. So yeah, overall I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Just little bits that I don't really like about the story. I can't think of any off the top of my head at the moment, but I did have some while I was watching the story which I didn't quite understand. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10, and next time I'm reviewing the Jon Pertwee story, The Three Doctors, and I've never watched that episode before, so I'm glad that my YouTubers, that my Facebook group voted for it, so that I can just go and have a look, have a watch through it, because I've never seen it before, you know. And I always think it's nice to watch an episode of Doctor Who for the first time, especially with An Unearthly Child. I mean, I loved that the first time I watched it. I'm currently re-watching it downstairs. So yeah, and this was the 10th anniversary story at the Three Doctors, and it aired almost 40 years ago, something like that anyway, 39 or something, 41, whatever. Yeah, and it's the 50th anniversary this year, and yeah, it does seem quite strange actually. It's not like I can remember it starting in 1963 because I'm obviously not that old, but yeah, I can't wait for that story. It's apparently going to be called Blue Amends. I think that was the script working title. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching this review, guys, and I'll see you next time.